During the last campaign, I knew what was happening. You know, they mocked me for my foreign policy and they laughed at my monetary policy. No more.
President Obama has 42% of voter support, and Representative Ron Paul, 41%. Wow.
I see a fantastic movement at the grassroots.
This man brings together people of all races, all socioeconomic backgrounds, all political affiliations, because freedom is truth and truth is power, and we can live and be free in this country if we believe we can.
What's appealing about him overall is that he is intellectually honest and that he obviously has a lot of integrity.
Ron Paul is at least not a pander, he's sincere.
The reason people are worked up about Ron Paul is because they sense that he's genuine, that he's not a sellout, that he's not taking money to espouse certain positions like 99% of other politicians.
The one guy in the field, agree with him or don't agree with him, who doesn't go out of his way to regurgitate talking points or change what he believes to fit the audience he's in front of.
You served, as you said, 20 years in Congress, but you're not going to take a congressional pension.
Right.
As an obstetrician, you never took Medicare or Medicaid for your patients.
Never.
I'm personally endorsing Ron Paul for President of the United States for 2012. A lot of stuff he says makes perfect sense.
Mainstream is moving in the direction that I have been talking about for a long time.
And everything he has said has been truth. And a lot of stuff Obama has said has been lies.
I will promise you this, that if we have not gotten our troops out by the time I am president, it is the first thing I will do. I will get our troops home. We will bring an end to this war. You can take that to the bank.
So does that mean you can tell us today that you will not change the 16-month timetable?
I like Ron Paul. I think he's a cut from a different cloth than the rest of those people who are, of course, selling their souls to the corporate interests who back them.
I believe that abortion should be safe and legal in this country.
I will preserve and protect a woman's right to choose, and am devoted and dedicated to honoring my word in that regard.
I will be a pro-life president.
He came to Austin as a Democrat, and then he ran into Karl Rove, and Karl Rove whispered in his ear, he said, look, you're a good-looking guy, your politics are kind of conservative. It was easy for him to make the switch.
They represent the status quo. And this is what excites so many people now. They're sick of the status quo.
Suddenly, a lot of people who love the country and haven't voted precisely because they feel like it would be an insult to the great history of this country to vote for one or the other criminal, are so excited at the prospect that, wait a minute, maybe the country can be saved after all.
Well, I do think you should value people who speak from the heart and who tell the truth. And you should also value people who honor the vision of your founders and respect the most sublime constitution devised by human intelligence.
We want an America full of principled people. Not people who say one thing and do something else, say anything to get elected, but who say what they mean what they say, and they live their lives by those principles.
Ron Paul has been consistent for more than 30 years, and he's been absolutely right about the most important issues facing this country today, which means that when he's elected, we can trust that he'll actually do what he says he's going to do, and that what he does is actually going to work.
This country is in a revolution. They're sick and tired of what they're getting, and I happen to be lucky enough to be part of it.
Don't get involved in these wars. Just bring our troops home.
There is absolutely never a reason to give up 1 ounce of freedom for the sake of security. It won't work. There is no authority in the Constitution authorizing a central bank, which means there should be no Federal Reserve System. An idea whose time has come cannot be stopped by any army or any government.
been in politics for 35 years. My cause has been the cause of liberty. Well, it's a pretty good question, because there are days when I'm not sure that's exactly what I want in my life. Because I've said seriously, even though it might sound a little bit different than the others, actually I want to be president, not for the things I want to do, for the things I don't think we should do. Because I don't want to be a president that continues the policing of the world. I don't want to be a president that wants to run your life, and I don't want to be a president that's in charge of the economy. So in a way, it's a negative reason to be president, and that is to influence the society to accept responsibility and show that a president in the executive branch of government shouldn't be king. We don't need a president as king, and I think that's my main goal, is to show that liberty works and big government doesn't, so therefore I would want to have less power, not more power.
You know, Ron, I'm writing a book, have written a book talking about the future of the conservative movement, and I tried to go back to figure out when the big mess began that led to this collapse. And there were a few people, Peter Walson at AEI, and even the New York Times article that was written in 1999 warning about Freddie and Fannie. A lot of warnings out there. Alan Greenspan also issued warnings. But I was stunned by reading a statement you made in the Banking Committee on September 10th, 2003. In fact, I reprinted the whole thing in my book. I want Americans who hear leaders saying every day, we could have never seen this coming. This was a shock. How did this happen? I want to read what you said 5 years before the collapse. The special privileges granted to Fannie and Freddie have distorted the housing market by allowing them to attract capital that they could not attract under pure market conditions. Like all artificially created bubbles, the boom in housing prices cannot last forever. When housing prices fall, homeowners will experience difficulty as their equity is wiped out. Furthermore, the holders of the mortgage debt will also have a loss. These losses will be greater than they would have otherwise been had government policy not actively encouraged overinvesting in housing. And you go on to say, because so many people will invest in housing, the damage will be catastrophic. Congressman, how could it be that you knew this on the Banking Committee in 2003 and nobody else did until after the collapse?